Hello, hello. Welcome to this Ask Us Anything session hosted by Kahoot. My name is Sydney, and I'm here to do exactly what the session title says of answering your questions. So feel free to ask us anything. I know that I have someone helping me out in the chat as well. So please feel free to share any questions that you do have about Kahoot and the Kahoot platform into the chat, so that I can go ahead and answer your questions. Now, this Ask Us Anything session is part of our back to school programming. So if you haven't checked out all of the contests and just videos and ideas that you can get for this back to school season and using Kahoot, you would want to go check out just our website at kahoot.com. It might be dropped in the chat as well. So you can have a look at everything that we're doing around back to school, including sessions like this where you can ask us anything, but also feature focuses, which this week we are focusing on word cloud. So if you're less familiar with our word cloud question type, you'll want to tune in Thursday for that feature focus live. And I'm just going to get myself situated here. And I do see a couple of you popping into the chat. Hello, thank you so much for joining. Yes, and the link for the back to school programming has been dropped in the chat, so feel free to check that out. But hi, thanks so much for joining us. I see a few of you have joined already. Again, this is an Ask Us Anything session, so I will not be presenting on anything specific today. But if you do have questions about Kahoot, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to answer. So for those less familiar, Kahoot is a learning engagement platform. You might all be familiar with Kahoot, especially if you've joined us here today. So thank you. And to get started, I'll just start talking about some of my favorite features within Kahoot. And again, if you do have any questions, just feel free to ask them in the chat. So some of my favorite features in Kahoot, one of them is just our duplicate feature. So if you haven't duplicated Kahoots before, you can duplicate Kahoots within our Discover page to use any Kahoot created by educators around the world as a template. So you can create a duplicate copy and then edit and enhance that Kahoot as needed as well. But you can also duplicate Kahoots shared with you by other educators or other people that also use Kahoot. You're able to duplicate those and edit those existing copies. You're also able to duplicate across to your different workspaces and or groups if you do have those functions available to you. So that duplicate feature is really great. I also tend to duplicate a lot of my existing Kahoots and then create an updated copy of them. So that is one of my favorite features in Kahoot. And I see a great question in the chat about when are the new game modes coming? Can't wait. We cannot wait either. We are so excited about our game modes. We will have 3 coming out this back to school season. I'm not sure exactly when they will be released, but I believe within the month of September. So within the month of September, you should see those game modes available to you, but we will have 3 different versions of our game modes. One will be a team-based game mode called Color Kingdom. Then we'll have one called Treasure Trove, where students are collecting coins whenever they get answers correct. And then there will be another kind of class-based or group-based game mode as well, where students have to get the answers correct in the Kahoot in order to avoid being eaten by a larger shark and or fish. So a couple of different types of game modes that we are really excited about. And some information has been popped in the chat about our game modes, where you can reach out to our community at kahoot.com if you are interested in beta testing our game modes. We've had some experience in beta testing them ourselves, and we are really excited about them. Yeah, and another great question about, do you have to sign in to use Kahoot? So if you are hosting Kahoots, so if you're hosting Kahoots either live or if you're assigning Kahoots or if you're creating Kahoots, then you do need a Kahoot account, which is still free for educators and will be free for educators forever. So you can sign in to use Kahoot in that way if you are wanting to administer Kahoots. Now, if you are simply playing Kahoot, so if you're a student or just a participant engaging in a Kahoot, you do not need to have a Kahoot account in order to play a Kahoot. So, no Kahoot account needed to play a Kahoot, whether that is live or assigned, but you do need one if you are creating Kahoots or hosting Kahoots live or assigning Kahoots. But that is a great question. And you can sign up for free for a Kahoot account online on our website at kahoot.com, which was also linked up above with our back to school programming. That is our website. Now, speaking of our different ways to play, we have our live version of playing Kahoot where everyone plays synchronously and everyone goes through Kahoot at the same time. But we also have a version known as our assigned feature, so where you can assign Kahoot. So this is our lesser known way to play, but one of my personal favorites. This allows you to generate a link to a Kahoot that students are able to complete as homework or on their own time, even if you do decide to administer it live in class. Once you create an assignment, you are essentially taken to a live report that updates as students engage with that Kahoot. So if you assigned a Kahoot on Monday and it was due by Friday, you could check in on Wednesday and see who all has taken part in that Kahoot. Another great feature of our assigned Kahoots is the ability to completely eliminate time. So if you have ever wanted to give your students more time to answer the questions, or you've simply just wanted to prioritize accuracy over speed, with our assigned Kahoot feature, you are able to turn off our question timer. So you can turn off our question timer, allowing students as much time as they need to take part in the Kahoot, and it will prioritize that accuracy so that they have enough time to process the question and be able to answer it correctly. So that is a really great feature within our assigned Kahoot option. Now, going back to our live Kahoot option, we do have a newer feature if you are used to hosting live Kahoots, which is our more common way to play, where everyone's going through the Kahoot at the same time and you are hosting the Kahoot. We have a version of team mode that is new. So if you've never played Kahoot in team mode, we have an option of team mode on personal devices. So if you choose team mode on personal devices, then students are asked to join a team. And so they'll join a team and each student will answer every question throughout the Kahoot, but rather than their score contributing towards an individual score, they're contributing towards a team score. So if you have found that Kahoot tends to favor those that are very quick processors, you can balance it all out by playing in teams. And this is a free feature. You do have access to our team mode on personal devices in the free version of Kahoot, and then also through all of our paid plans as well. So if you haven't played Kahoot in team mode yet, I would definitely recommend doing so, as it's a really, really great and fun feature to compete as a team. Another feature that is available not only in the free version, but also in our paid versions that you might be less familiar with is our slides. So in the free version of Kahoot, if you do have a Kahoot account, you are able to include a slide when creating Kahoots. So you can use slides to introduce new content. You can provide clarification. You can ask if there are any questions in the group. Maybe you have a true false question and the answer is false. So you then want to include a slide about what's true. Our slide enables you to do that. And with our free slide, you're also able to add media. So if you've ever tried to embed a YouTube video or Vimeo video into your Kahoot, but it's competing with the question and the question timer, our slides are the best way for you to embed those videos so that the entire focus can be on the video throughout the Kahoot. And yes, as a reminder, this is an Ask Us Anything session. So at the moment, I'm kind of rambling, but feel free to ask questions in the chat. That's really what we're here for. So if you do have any specific questions about Kahoot for a Kahoot team member, that's what I'm here for. So feel free to ask your questions in the chat. But without any questions in the chat, I will just be talking about some of our various features. But feel free to also continue to ask questions in our chat. Yeah, great question. Will the new game modes be free? Yes, there will be a version of our game modes that will be free. So even free users will have access to our game modes. That's a really great question. So again, our game modes are coming out very soon. The first one or the first couple will at least be available, hopefully by the end of September. And those will be free. So they will be available to free Kahoot users. So thank you so much for asking that question about our new game modes. Feel free again to ask questions. And I also failed to introduce myself. My name is Sydney Jones. I am based with the Kahoot team in Austin, Texas. So that's where I'm coming to you from for this live session of Ask Us Anything. And I've been at Kahoot for almost 2 years now. I was hired during the pandemic, and a lot of the features that we've come out with since the pandemic came from supporting distance and hybrid learning. And we really have accelerated all the features or our product development over that time. So that's what a lot of this back to school programming is about, is reminding you of all of these features that we have created, because there are so many features that we have created over this time. So while you might think of Kahoot just being a simple and easy live quiz game, we really have become so much more than that. And a lot of that is available to you in the free version. Now, last week in our feature focus, we did talk about slides, which I was mentioning earlier. So again, in the free version, you have that ability to add in a slide. So if you want to bring in context, even just a moment for pause or embed video or other media into a slide to instruct, you're able to do so in the free version and also the paid versions. If you are able to access the paid version of a Kahoot, then you also get the option to actually import slides for an existing presentation. So you can take an existing slide presentation that you have, maybe in Google Slides or in PowerPoint, and you're able to download that and actually import it into the Kahoot Creator to create an interactive presentation. So rather than creating slides from our Kahoot slide templates, you're actually able to take existing slides, import them in, and create an entire interactive presentation. Now, to the question about will Kahoot get better next month, I believe so. During this back to school period, we are releasing so many of the features that we or at least are dedicated towards schools and towards teachers. So even within this next month, we have new features coming out, such as our new game modes, which are probably the most exciting. But we also released 2 new question types over the summer with drop pin and slider. And then we also added the ability for you to have up to 6 answer options in a quiz. So rather than a quiz question type being limited to 4 answer options, you can now add up to 6. And you can also do the same thing with poll as well. And we appreciate the shout out for us being the best online quiz platform. Thank you so much for that opinion. We think we're pretty good too. There's a lot of great tools out there, and we do appreciate those that do choose to use us and use Kahoot. So thank you for being here. It seems we have quite a few people tuning into this live. Again, this is an Ask Us Anything session. Feel free to ask me anything. You can pop it into the chat. That's what I'm here for. And again, my name is Sydney. I'm excited to be with you all here today. I am a part of the customer success team, which means that I support schools and districts and universities who decide to adopt our Kahoot Edu product. So Kahoot Edu is made for group purchasing. So rather than you upgrading yourself, you can actually work with your school administrators to purchase Kahoot Edu on behalf of as many teachers that need it in your school. And with Kahoot Edu, it gives you access to all of the features that Kahoot offers. So when Kahoot Edu is purchased, I come in and help train teachers on all the features that they now have access to that they might not have had access to in the free version. So if you are interested in using a lot more of the tools that Kahoot offers, I recommend talking to your admin and saying, hey, Kahoot does have this version that can be purchased by the school or the district. Is this something that, would be potentially within our budget to adopt over the school year. Yes, hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you again so much for being here. This is only a 30-minute session, so we have about 15 minutes left for you to ask us anything. So if you've ever had a burning question for a Kahoot team member, that is what I'm here for. I do work for Kahoot, based here in Austin, Texas. So if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. There's been a lot of questions about our game modes already. I love that there's so much excitement building about them. Again, we've had some opportunities to play them ourselves, and we even get excited about them. So we think students will really love them too. Now, in addition to these Ask Us Anythings, we have some other webinars as well. A lot of them I will actually be hosting, but some of them will also be hosted by other members of our team. So if you do want to check out our webinars page, you can look into the various different professional development opportunities where we talk about interactive presentations. I have sessions on Kahoot Edu specifically if you or your admins are interested in learning more about Kahoot EDU, also just tips for creating engaging Kahoot. So if you feel like you know how to use Kahoot, but you just could use a little bit more tips and tricks, there's webinars for that as well. So you can join me on those to learn more about Kahoot, where I'm actually able to share my screen. And so you can follow along and learn with me. Yes. Can't wait for the new features. They're going to be so awesome. We think they're awesome too. We have a very passionate and large team supporting our Kahoot product from all over the world. Kahoot is actually headquartered in Oslo, Norway. So Kahoot is a Norwegian company, but like myself and others within the Kahoot team, we're also based all around the world supporting our global community. And we are so grateful to have such a supportive and passionate global community of not only educators, but also professionals and students as well who do love Kahoot and the experience it brings. Awesome. Another one of my favorite features in Kahoot, I'm trying to think of one right now. We did actually recently release a feature. This is only in our Kahoot EDU product, but we released an option for you to be able to embed Kahoots into an LMS. So if you are working with an LMS like Canvas, Brightspace, or Blackboard, you can actually take an assigned Kahoot and embed it into your online LMS for students to be able to access that Kahoot completely within their LMS. And also, too, we did release a Google Classroom add-on. So if you are a Google Classroom partner, a paid partner, and you do have Google Classroom, you're able to encourage your admins to install Kahoot as an add-on that gives you access to your Kahoot account completely within Google Classroom. So you can assign those asynchronous Kahoots and students can play them all within Google Classroom without ever needing to leave the experience of Google Classroom. And you're even able to look at the report of the Kahoot played in Google Classroom as well. So it keeps the experience all within Google Classroom. So that is a really great new feature that we were also excited to announce this summer. Yes, and waiting eagerly for Kahoot updates. They are coming. We have had some new features released this past summer, but again, there are new updates coming, but there's also a lot of features that we've released over the past couple years that we're trying to kind of speak about again. So that's what our feature focuses on Thursdays are for. So similar to this live session, there's also an additional live session on Thursdays where we do a feature focus. So this week's feature focus is going to be on word cloud. So if you're not familiar with our collecting opinion question types, these tend to be available more in the paid versions of Kahoot, but we have the ability to poll. You have the ability to drop a pin on an image. You can also create word clouds. So with a word cloud, you can ask a question such as, what is your favorite pizza topping? If you want to drop it in the chat, feel free. But if you wanted to ask a group of participants or students, what is your favorite pizza topping? Everyone would type in their answer, so mushrooms, pepperoni, artichokes, and submit them in. And the most popular responses are going to appear larger on the screen in the word cloud. So you are kind of viewing the more popular responses, so getting a type of consensus, while also taking into consideration all the other opinions as well. So this Thursday, you'll be able to see and experience word cloud through a Kahoot during our live on Thursdays. So if you're curious about that one, feel free to tune in to check that one out. In addition to word cloud, and I see a question, what is your favorite thing about Kahoot? What is my favorite thing about Kahoot? I think one of my favorite things about Kahoot really just has to do with how it is very inclusive of all different types of communities and populations. Kahoot is not only used in schools, that is where we got started, but you can also use Kahoot at home, at birthday parties, at weddings, baby showers. You can use Kahoot at work. You can train employees. You can, um, host socials with Kahoot. If you're working remotely like I am, Kahoot is a great way to stay connected virtually as well. So that's one of my favorite parts of Kahoot is just how many people it can be used by. And I at least like to think it's fairly easy to use and very easy to launch. And so that's one of my favorite things about Kahoot. But probably my favorite feature in Kahoot is really that assigned Kahoot option. I think if I was an educator or if I was administering Kahoots more frequently than I even do now, I would be using that assign Kahoot feature. So to the question about Kahoot Edu, so Kahoot Edu is actually available for individual purchasing. So you can purchase Kahoot Edu for a single license if you are interested in that plan specifically. But to the point about only worrying about paid features, I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case. We do still release features to the free version, such as our upcoming game modes. So we are still updating the free version along with our paid versions as well. But you should be able to purchase Kahoot EDU for a single license, but it really is built for you to be able to bring in many educators under one subscription. And the idea behind Kahoot EDU is rather than you upgrading yourself and you paying for Kahoot yourself, you're actually working with your school or district or campus to purchase Kahoot EDU for multiple educators, which gives you access to a shared content library along with all of the features that Kahoot offers. Just reading through some parts of the chat, but I'll kind of just go back to those collecting opinion question types that I was mentioning. So, polling, word cloud, drop pin. We also have an open ended question as well, where students are actually able to free type in up to 250 characters. So, you can use it for short answer response. You can also use it if you do want to ask students if they have any questions. Really great for a hybrid environment. So, you're not just only focusing on the students in front of you, but you're also giving the same opportunity for students who are joining online to answer questions as well. And then we also have a question called Brainstorm. So, Brainstorm is where players are able to submit up to 3 ideas. Those ideas can then be grouped together by the host, and then they're then released to the students to vote on their favorite ideas. And there are points available in Brainstorm because if your ideas do get votes, then you will get some points in the Kahoot itself. And yes, to the point in the chat, we do have a lot of different learning apps. So Kahoot is really just one of the tools at your disposal, but we have learning apps available through our partners over at Dragonbox and Poyo. We also have Drops as well that you can look into. Drops is a really great language learning app. And then with Dragonbox, it supports learning math at various levels, such as algebra, also geometry and multiplication. And there's also a chess app with Dragonbox as well. That's one of my favorites for learning chess. And so you can check those out. Those are available, or more information can be found on our website about the other tools that we do have. Awesome. Sorry, just having a look at the chat. It's hard to talk and look at the chat at the same time. So thank you again all so much for joining. We did have a few people join for this one. So this will be happening same time every Monday if you do want to create a calendar event for yourself, if you are wanting to tune in. But again, we are doing feature focuses on Thursdays as well, where you can actually play a Kahoot and experience some of these features I'm talking about, where this is more so for answering questions that you do have, which we're happy to answer. But we do only have about 5 minutes left. So if there are still any more questions that you have, let me know. And to the question about our paid plans, on our website, if you view See All Plans, you can see the differences between our plans, between Pro, Premium, and Premium Plus, and then even EDU as well. There are very slight feature differences between some of them. So all you need to do is go to our website, go to schools, go to See All Plans, and then you'll be able to see which features are included with our different plans. But Kahoot Edu is the one that does have everything that we offer. So every single feature that we offer is available in Kahoot Edu. And the link to our school's plans is available in the chat if you are interested. But as mentioned in our chat as well, Kahoot will be free forever for teachers. And that is a plan that we are continuing to add new features to. It's not one that we're forgetting about. So we are continuing to add tools that are free and for our free users. One of those being our team modes. Team modes, also our new game modes. And then also to that ability to add more than 6 answer options and a free version of slide. So those are all new features that have been released recently to the free version of Kahoot. The ability to add a slide, also to have more than 6 answer options in quiz and if you have access to poll. And then our new version of team mode on personal devices, also a free feature. And then our game modes will also be free as well. To the question about our collecting opinion question types that are part of our paid plans, when it comes to our word cloud, open-ended, and brainstorm, because students are freely typing in a response, those question types are exclusive to Kahoot Edu because we do require acceptance of our student privacy policy and terms and conditions on behalf of an admin in order to have those question types available to you. That's just in regards to student privacy, making sure that we are compliant, because as students are typing in responses, we are still not able to identify students in any way, shape, or form. Students do not need accounts to join a Kahoot. So if they do type in anything that would be a concern, we would actually not be able to identify that student. And so we just ask that on behalf of our EDU subscription, admins do accept that as the reality. And so opening up those open-ended questions to be able to be used. Yes, thank you for joining from Egypt. I've never been, would love to go. But yeah, thank you for joining from wherever you are at in the world. I imagine if you are joining from other parts of the world, it might be a little bit later. So I hope you're enjoying your evening, and thanks so much for tuning in. We do just have about 1 minute left. And yes, there are some points being made in the chat just about our student privacy. It is hugely important to us. And so, yeah. So without any more questions, again, this is our Ask Us Anything. This is happening every single week at this time. But if you are interested in, keeping up with us and tuning in again, you will actually have the opportunity to play a Kahoot this Thursday to learn more about our word cloud question, which has been talked about in the chat before. So you can experience a word cloud question if you do want to. And we're hosting those every Thursday just like we are hosting these Ask Us Anythings every Monday. So you can tune in, ask Kahoot a question. We're more than happy to answer the questions that you do have, but feel free to also join the Kahoots that we're hosting on Thursdays, focusing on a specific feature. So I am going to close out this Ask Us Anything, but thank you so much for joining. Hope you enjoy your afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. We're so glad you were able to join us today. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of your Monday and a good rest of your week as well. Bye.